welcome to the Four on the Floor podcast, where we ask 4 questions about music, drums, and life to our guests. My name is Liz Aponte. I am your host, and I am the owner of Full Circle Company, and I'm also a fellow drummer. And today we have Spencer York on the show. Spencer is an incredibly talented and solid drummer, and he plays in the band Movements. And while you might know him as the drummer of Movements, I also know that he's incredibly talented in other areas and has other interests. So I'm really excited to talk to you about that today. Spencer, welcome to the show.
Thanks for gassing me up.
Anytime. So I want to start with a little bit of a warm-up question.
Okay.
So I know you're not new to touring at all. You've probably been touring for over 7 years now.
Yeah, going on like 8 or 9.
That's amazing. Yep. I can only imagine the amount of miles you've logged in the U.S. and how many stamps are in your passport.
So many. Anytime my parents are kind of like, hey, I'm worried about this drive, like, I think I've driven more than you now.
Yeah, you can do it with your eyes closed, basically. Yeah, so we're in Salt Lake City, Utah currently. And so I'm wondering if there's a moment that comes up for you specifically about Salt Lake City that stands out.
Okay. Yeah, there's one that comes to mind. I think it was like one of the first times that we played in Salt Lake City. We played at the Complex. There's 2 rooms to that venue. And a lot of times it's not too uncommon to have 2 shows going at the same time.
Right.
So you know that guy, the dude from Getter, like he's Getter, that guy. Yeah, he was playing a show in the other room while we were playing our show. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was kind of a trip because I've always been like a big fan of like the Real Bros of Simi Valley. I don't know if you heard of that little web show. Yeah, but he's in that and I love it. He's amazing in that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a cool little fact.
Yeah, I grew up in Moore Park, which is the city over to Simi Valley.
Yep, which is where whoever Cody Co plays went to photography school in that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Probably Moore Park College or something like that. Yeah,
Yep,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Cool. I know you're here in Salt Lake City on tour, supporting the new Movements album, RUCKUS. First, I just want to take a second to say that album's amazing.
Thank you.
I love that it feels like, to me, like it's a mix of all the best things of the previous 2 albums into something new.
Yeah.
And I love the diversity of it. I love the way it starts. I love the way it ends. And there's just really interesting, I mean, we could do a whole nother podcast on like just the drumming, like some of your drumming in that too. I really like the just 6/8 time signature switch on the last song and just so many different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously it's not your guys' first album. And so I'm wondering, with multiple albums under your belt, how did you approach the drum writing and the drum recording process, for this album rather than previous albums?
Okay. Well, I mean, typically what I do, and I've done this for every album more or less, is I program all my drums. I'll use like maybe Superior Drummer or like Addictive Drums 2 or something like that. But that's kind of always been like my preferred way of writing. I like to kind of like get out of those natural tendencies.
Yeah.
I also have short-term memory. So if I'm just jamming like something on the drums, like chances are I'm going to forget it in a minute. So if I can just have it notated and also you could just copy and paste something, paste it somewhere else, change something about it, go back and forth, and it's so easy to be like, oh, this would be so cool. Sometimes I make accidents, like I do something on accident and it makes it in the song. Like at the end of Full Circle, there's a little flourish between like the bell and the hats, and like that was an accident. It was twice as fast as it was supposed to be, and I just kept it.
Yeah,
I was like, that's cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, I think I got a little sidetracked here. Sorry. The approach to writing this record. So with this record, I did the same thing. I meticulously programmed all the drums, every single note. It's extremely intentional. I'm like obsessive about it almost. But the day before we went to go and actually track, our producer, Will Yip, came to me and he's like, hey, I have this idea. I don't think you're going to like it. But what do you think about splitting up the drums and the cymbals, recording them separately?
Wow.
Yeah. And
right before
the next morning was my first go at recording RUCKUS. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Well, it scared the shit out of me at first because I was like, well, I just spent weeks, months like practicing these songs, like not doing that, playing the whole thing.
Right.
So, I mean, it's Will, so I trust him with my life. So I'm just like, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, I accepted the challenge, and it was a challenge.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we had to do all kinds of stuff. Like, it was hard to. Some of these songs are like pretty technical. I mean, not all of them, but there's, you know, like "Failure," for example. Maybe that's one like slightly more technical song.
Yeah.
But that song was really hard to separate, so we had to put like a snare drum with a mesh head on, so it'd be silent when you're playing the cymbals. And we were playing the cymbals, we had to take them off because I kept accidentally hitting them. So I would just kind of mime it and then play the drums. We'd stop that and then we'd switch over to the cymbals. But we did that because it gave us a lot of sonic options.
Right.
Drums are hard to mix when you've got cymbals bleeding in, and vice versa. So that just gave us a whole lot more space to work with.
Yeah. That's incredible. I can't imagine. I've heard of one other band doing that, and this was back in like 2006, I think, 18 Visions. I don't know but like a hardcore band.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing some video, and like when they would do cymbals, it was just like practice pads basically that the drummer would use, and I'm like, wow, it feels so different.
Yeah.
You know, and I've never done it that way before. You know, I've heard of it. What did you think overall of that experience? Do you think it kind of pushed you as a drummer? Are you happy with the result?
I definitely think so, because I had to think way harder about my parts.
Yeah,
because
I'm sure.
If you take anything slightly intricate and linear, it's hard to separate that sometimes.
Which you do a lot of linear beats and just intricate, like thoughtful, tasteful parts. Yeah.
I you know what? I think it was a challenge, but you know, we just rolled through it, and it actually went really well. I think another challenge was doing little corrections after the fact and being like, oh, I realized like I made a little mistake here because I split them up. So we did a little bit of that. It was a little bit of back and forth, but we got it. Yeah. So yeah.
It sounds amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, that's awesome. And I could see too where just sonically, I mean, the cymbals, we love cymbals, obviously, but the bleed into all the mics. And if you want to get those really, I would assume like pure tones of the drums so that they sing, and you can get that like separating it out. Yeah. Had your producer done that before?
Yeah, actually, he was telling me that that's usually what he does with Daniel Fang of Turnstile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's how he does it.
Yeah, crazy.
And so I think he might have mentioned that, and I said, okay, if he does it, then I'll.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Well, switching gears a little bit here, you know, we talked about you logging a lot of miles and having a lot of stamps in your passport and all that type of stuff. You're no stranger to touring. And I'm sure with touring, you know, you get to visit a lot of coffee shops and restaurants and shops in different local areas. Yeah. So I know a little bit about you, and I know you're a fan of avocado toast, which is amazing. So if you had a Mount Rushmore of avocado toast, are there, you know, 4 places that make that list? And if so, what makes them on the list that sets them apart? Okay. Maybe some cafes, you know, are listening and could use some hints.
Well, to be honest, Kona Loa Grill is really the Kona Loa Cafe, I think is what it's called, is really the only place that I get avocado toast these days, unless I'm making it myself. And if I am making it myself, I make it as close to what they do, which is like a nice thick slice of sourdough, the whole avocado on top, crushed red pepper, drizzle of honey, and then a chopped hard-boiled egg just laid across the top. Yep. Perfect. Yep. I don't need to look anymore. I go there when I can. It's expensive, but you know. But I was thinking about your question, and maybe I could point out some of my favorite food spots in general, because I know I got a bunch of those.
Absolutely.
Cool.
We love food.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so one of my top, this place called Pine State Biscuits in Portland. Have you been?
Yes, we've been.
Yeah.
Right? We've been. That's the place. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's been a while, but yeah.
That's probably my top go-to place to eat on tour.
Nice.
Yeah.
What sets them apart for you?
It's where I discovered my favorite hot sauce in my entire life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's that?
Our secret aardvark sauce.
Oh, yes. Yep. That is
secret
good. I know
aardvark's
exactly
amazing.
What you're talking about.
It just got me really into habanero sauce. I love spicy food. Like, I like when food makes me sweat. It's weird.
I'm easing into it, but I don't know if I'm quite there yet. But yeah, I have appreciation for hot sauce. So Pine State Biscuits.
Yep, Pine State. Second one easily, Jim's Steaks in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, That's my favorite. Like
For cheesesteak?
Yeah, I love
Okay.
cheesesteaks, Philly cheesesteaks. Just like the whiz style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think their bread's
Cheese
really
whiz.
good there. That place burnt down not that long ago, but they're rebuilding.
Oh,
or have
really?
recently rebuilt. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I need
Okay.
to give it another visit.
Yeah.
The last time I was there was before it burnt down.
Any others?
Shoot. Now is the time where I start to blank.
Yeah. Well, while you're thinking,
yeah.
I could just say the first spot you mentioned, we actually, we were picking up your cymbals actually in California, and you invited us out there. And yeah, it was like, we have like avocado toast here. There's actually a place just down here where it's like good, but the like crushed red pepper, I had never experienced that before. And it was like life changing.
Yeah. For me, it was the honey. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing it. All right. I got another. No, I don't. We're going to cut that. We're going to cut that. Or not. I don't care.
No.
Shoot. Well,
If not, it's all good.
Yeah, well, we might have to cut somewhere along here.
All right. We can do that.
Oh, here we go. Franzone's Pizza in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's
Say
like
that city name again?
Conshohocken.
Okay.
That's where we record everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But every time we go there, we have to have at least like 2 or 3 dinners over there.
Yeah.
It's a sweet sauce pizza, and the
Okay.
secret ingredient is grape jelly.
Oh, wow. On
Yeah.
a pizza?
And it's amazing. It's really light. You can
Wow.
eat like 5 slices and not feel
Okay.
that bad.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you'll feel bad later, but in
Right,
the
right,
moment,
right.
yeah, you can put down a lot of pizza.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that outside Philly or?
It is outside Philly.
Okay.
Well, there might be. I honestly don't know how many locations there are because we've been to a couple of them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the one we go
Nice.
to is in Conshohocken.
Yeah.
That's where our friend who works there is at. Every
Oh,
time we're there, we
fun.
see him.
You want to
and-
give them a shout out?
Yeah. Thanks for hooking it up with the really tall vodka tonic when I was last there. That was really
Hey.
cool of you. Thank you. I totally paid for it, actually. By the way, I don't want to get him in trouble.
Oh, that's funny. No, that's awesome. Yeah. Wow. And that's like a little bit of West Coast, a little bit of East Coast. So that's
Yeah.
a good mix of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, switching gears back to drumming, as musicians, we usually will start playing an instrument, and if we keep up with it, we kind of collect gear along the way.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed in my life where I have just certain pieces of gear, either from my earlier days or currently, that it's more than just an instrument being used. It's something sentimental to me. And that's actually kind of how I started with cymbals. I didn't want to get rid of them because, I would tour with them or teach lessons on them, whatever. So I'm wondering if there's a piece of gear from your past that means something very special to you and why, and then that same question for something you're currently using.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm a very sentimental person,
Yeah.
and almost all my gear is sentimental to me.
That's awesome.
So most notably is my Q Drum Co. copper kit.
Yeah.
That kit I had made in 2019. I had not taken a drum endorsement like on purpose. We started the band in like 2015, and from 2015 till 2019, I did not have any drum deals or anything.
Yeah.
Because I was holding out for something that I thought was like special and unique and like groundbreaking and just really cool. And that was Q Drums. So, I had my management hit them up, and we were able to work out a thing. And I got to meet, Jeremy and a couple of the other guys that work there. And Jeremy Berman,
Yes.
founder, unfortunately passed away this year.
Yes.
He's my biggest inspiration for drum building. So naturally, I had to retire my Q kit. I'm not touring with it anymore because if something happens to it, I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah.
It's a very, very special kit with me. It's a very, very special kit to me. I'm never getting rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did NAMM with Full Circle January 2020. It was amazing. And we were just a couple booths down from Q.
Yeah.
And so I got to meet those guys, meet Jeremy, Tommy too.
Yeah.
And they're just amazing. Not only at their craft, but more so just as people. So
yeah. Roger and Gravy too.
Yeah.
The awesome guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if you met them before, but yeah, they're all such cool people.
Yeah.
Such a cool
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. So such a bummer about Jeremy, as you
know.
said. He's just so talented. It was
Yeah.
really cool to see the drumming community, rile
Yeah.
for him. And yeah, we know his legacy lives on, and that makes total sense that
Yeah.
you'd want to just kind of keep them, and have that be that sentimental kit.
Yeah, and keep it all preserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Any gear that you're currently using?
Yes. So my drum kit that I'm playing on this tour is pretty special to me. It's my first branded drum kit from my own little sort of side gig drum company that I'm trying to get going.
York Drum Co.
Yeah,
right?
York Drum Co. Yeah. Man, the kit sounds great. Sorry, I'm not trying to brag, but I did a nice job. I think I did a nice job. No. So I was originally going to sell that kit, or at least try to, at the end of the tour. But I kind of just like fell in love with that kit. So now it's something that I'm just like so extremely proud of. It's kind of like the first like big thing that I really like attached my name to, besides like our music and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it's been something that I've been wanting to do for years. I've been building drums for the last like 8 or 9 years or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the one piece of gear I think currently that I'm using that is extremely special to me.
Yeah.
Something I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit of a rundown on the sizes and the material you use?
Absolutely. So I get my drum shells from Nordic. They're Nordic Drum Shells. They're a company based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm using some, I think it's 5.7 millimeter 8-ply walnut shells.
Okay, 5.7.
I'm giving you everything.
Yeah.
So we've got a 14 by 24, 16, 16, and a 9 by 13.
Nice.
Just classic big rock, and they're awesome. I gave them like if you don't mind me getting real specific, I did like a 3/16 round over, like a really aggressive round over.
Nice.
Every drum has just a slightly, as the drum increases in size, has like a slightly bigger, slightly fatter edge, which I'm pretty sure that's like a Pearl thing. Pearl loves to do that.
Yeah.
It's I was going for like a very controlled sound, so naturally I had to round over those edges, and then I've got just a shit ton of dampening on everything, just to make Ryan's job, our sound guy and tour manager, a little easier.
Right.
And he loves me for it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. And then talk a little bit about the finish too. I love the color of it as well.
Thank you. Yeah. Just rattle cans.
Okay.
I don't have like a nice like spray gun setup or anything yet. But yeah, I was mostly just doing stains over the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Right.
And then I decided, I just want to make like just a textureless, shiny, looks like it came from an actual drum shop kind of drum.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, I succeeded in that. I picked up like this, it was like a pale moss green spray paint that I found at Home Depot. I was just walking by. It was like maybe a week and a half till we had to leave. And I was just like, I just need a color. And I saw it and I was just like, that has to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah. So painted that. And then it's just got a water-based polyurethane on it.
Okay. As a finish.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just polished the shit out of that with some new finish car polish. And
nice.
Yeah. It turned out pretty nice.
It looks amazing.
Thank you.
I've seen your videos of you playing it too, but we'll see it, in an hour or two. I'll get to hear it and I can't wait.
I'm slowly editing a little video of like all the clips I'd taken throughout the entire process. So
awesome.
Hopefully I can get that together relatively soon.
Yeah.
Might be cool for people to check out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Are there more drums later on in the works?
Absolutely.
Or any plans for your drum co?
Yeah. So I'm sort of taking it slow. It's not my main gig, and I'm only one person.
Yeah.
So I don't really plan to do like a whole ton of custom orders or anything. For friends, definitely. For bands I love, absolutely. But I think for the most part, I'm just going to do like maybe 5 snares a year, maybe 1 or 2 kits a year, and just put them out.
Yeah.
And if you want it, cool. If not, that's
exclusive.
Fine too. Yeah.
They got to get on your production calendar.
I'm just going to make whatever I want, and hopefully that doesn't suck.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. So, and you said you've been building for 8 or 9 years. Too?
Yeah.
I'm
not necessarily doing a great job for that entire 8 years, but I did learn a lot through trial and error, and by the good graces of some of my old friends who'd given me some advice here and there about drum building or just general woodworking and whatnot. So I've just kind of picked up things over the years. I think I've just progressively gotten a little better. I've just seek a little bit more knowledge every time I do a build. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Like I'd never done a paint job before. I'd never polished polyurethane like that before. So that's all sort of like a new thing to me. Like I said, I mostly do satin stains, which is like it's a fairly straightforward thing. Like the whole glossy paint was like kind of a whole new process that I wasn't quite used to, but it was really cool. Came out nice. I'm not scared of it anymore. So
There we go. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about. Trial and error.
Yeah.
And it's nice when things work out, especially on like expensive drum shells that you only have one of.
Oh yeah. Yo yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know something that I really like, especially talking about gear, is I can kind of, even look at a kit like this and just be reminded of how sometimes like things come full circle. Like you have a full circle moment where things start one way and then kind of end up different but similar.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why I called my company Full Circle Company is not only that cymbals are like an actual circle, but because the material we use, just coming full circle from being a malleable metal to then being made and bought by someone to explore their craft, so much so that they broke it. And instead of throwing it away, we get to repurpose it, reuse it. So it all comes full circle. So I'm wondering for you, is there a moment in your career where you felt that you had a full circle moment?
Well, first off, I think that's a perfect name for your company. So sweet.
So thank you. And I didn't know about movements until after. And so when I saw, the first album I was introduced to was Feel Something.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw the first song was Full Circle, and I'm just like,
Such a funny coincidence.
this is like too much full circle stuff happening.
Yeah. I do have a full circle moment. So when I was like 16, I was never like a big like show goer. So when I went to go see a band that I really liked, it was a big deal for me. So in 2008, I went to go see Under Oath. My introduction into the whole metalcore scene was that band. I went to go see them in 2008 at UCI in Irvine. I think it was like, there was like 2,000 people there.
Mm-hmm.
I felt, as a 16-year-old, I felt like I was in some like massive like stadium.
Yeah.
It felt like the biggest gig I'd ever, it was the biggest gig I'd ever seen in person, and it was just a crazy feeling watching this band that I had listened to for so long and like looked up to for so long, and they're standing right in front of me, and it's a crazy feeling. And I think I realized a sort of full circle moment when we started playing venues around that size, and I started thinking, it kind of hit me at one point. I was like, is there maybe someone out there who's kind of like looking at us the way I looked at some bands that I looked up to as a kid?
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, still, but it's something I don't know if I'll get used to. That's my full circle moment.
Yeah. That's incredible. And I think can be really inspirational for anyone that, especially if you feel maybe stuck in a rut with a band you're in, or even drumming and not being in a band, just getting after it, and you never know, what's possible. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, in the beginning of all this, it kind of just sort of fell in all of our laps. Like we weren't trying to be some big band,
Yeah.
We only wanted, my goal personally was I wanted to be like a cool local band. I wanted to sell out Chain Reaction once.
Yep.
I wanted to do like a 2-week tour, see what it was like. And then we all just kind of go back to what we're doing.
Yeah.
Go back to school, work on my like film degree and whatnot. But that's not what happened.
Yeah, no, it's very different now.
Yeah.
And that's really cool too, because it can sometimes be hard to have expectations and then not have them be met. But sometimes not that you guys didn't have expectations. But
we didn't really. We had some.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like at least being consistent at it. And then it kind of just happened, but through, you guys working hard and all that stuff. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you guys in touch with the Under Oath guys?
Yeah, we're pretty good friends with Timmy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call him Timmy. Tim McTagg.
People call him Timmy, from what I understand.
I've never called him Timmy. Sorry, Tim, if you're watching. Tim is amazing. He's got a coffee brand called King State. And we've done multiple collaborations with him under a little like sub brand of ours called Moody Brew.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. And our guitarist, Ira, is a massive coffee connoisseur. So naturally, he kind of like takes point on that, and he gets to sort of like choose like what roasts and what flavors and what notes he wants in those. And so Ira totally curates the whole experience.
That's awesome.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's super cool. Him and our guitar tech or everything guy, Liddy, they both just know everything about coffee.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we got a pretty good handle on on Moody Brew.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do more of it. It's actually been a minute.
I'll have to buy some this time around.
We'll send you some.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But that feels like another like full circle moment where, you know, you're talking about for sure, like your experience watching Under Oath and being that, you know, kid in the audience, just maybe being like, I want to be there someday, or I just want to play music and explore that, to now you're playing those size venues and there's kids in the audience that will be that, you know, maybe here shortly. But then on the opposite side too, like that band that you were in the stands for watching, like you're working with them now on coffee collaborations.
Yeah, and you know what too? When we played Slam Dunk, Tim came to watch the whole set.
That's amazing.
He was standing backstage, and I was like, wow. I never told Tim, but I never told him that I was such a massive fan of Under Oath, so maybe this is how he finds out.
Well, I'm stoked to check you guys out tonight. And also just wanted to quickly talk about our collab, Full Circle Company and Spencer and Movements. We dropped the first drop a couple weeks ago. Super successful. These cymbals here are actually the ones we used to make drum keys and necklaces and other fun things.
All super cool stuff.
Yeah, and we might do some more bracelets and all that type of stuff. What do you think people can look forward to as far as the next collab with your cymbals?
Just a lot more of them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep them coming.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just start hitting harder too, so I can try and crack more so we can get more out the door. Yeah.
As long as they're affordable for you. Like, I know how expensive they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to, I know some people mentioned more necklaces, potentially some earrings.
Yeah, I definitely want to do both of those.
Yeah. Bracelets could be really cool. I know I cut a few prototypes here.
This little M here, I don't know how well you can see that. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely want to do more of those.
Yeah, I think those are going to be really well received.
So cool.
Yeah, excited for that. Anything else you want to share or say to your fans?
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Spencer. And I don't know how to end this because I didn't think that far ahead.
Thanks for having me. I didn't think the end of this either.
Yeah.
So,
All right. See ya. Bye.